Let's talk about the situation with the strikers. We've spoke a lot about the Harry Kane situation. It looks like that's over now. Who is the most likely striker? Because you've said that for, Rasmus Højlund would love to come to Manchester United. Yeah. We've heard about Ramos and PSG. It's gone quiet on Osimhen. It's a priority position for Manchester United. Where do you think they're looking at the moment, and how likely is Rasmus Højlund to be that striker?
Rasmus Højlund wants Manchester United. I can guarantee this. So he's really, really pushing to go to Manchester United. His intention is to join Man United. Of course, it's not only Man United. If tomorrow morning maybe other clubs, top clubs will enter the race, of course, he's open to joining. For example, Bayern are monitoring him since a long time. I think Bayern and Man United are on the same kind of striker for the same kind of budget. So Bayern could be a problem in this kind of negotiations for Man United. But in general, Rasmus Højlund priority, we can say that is Manchester United. He's waiting for this situation to be resolved, because at the moment Atalanta are asking for more than 60 million euros. This can become around 70 at the moment, because they feel that big clubs will arrive in the next days and they are not in a rush to sell him. He has a long contract at Atalanta. They signed him just last summer. Was a very smart signing. So this is why at the moment on player side, the desire to join Manchester United is very clear. But on the other side, it's not that easy to negotiate with Atalanta. It's tough for Italian clubs. Imagine when it's about clubs from abroad. So this is the situation for Højlund. A crucial point is that he signed in the recent weeks with SEG agency. It's the same agency of Erik ten Hag, and this could be a factor. Of course, this is not going to change anything in case other clubs join the race, but could be one of the factors. So I will keep Højlund in Manchester United list for sure, but I also feel that they don't want to pay crazy money for a very good player with fantastic potential. But he was not a regular starter at Atalanta this season. Very talented again, did very well with Denmark, but is not kind of player who, for example, like Vlahovic when he was at Fiorentina, is not yet at that level. And this is why Man United don't want to pay crazy money, but right money. For the other strikers, the situation is getting complicated, because now we are almost at the end of June. We know that this takeover situation is creating problems. This is very clear. There is also the financial fair play. This is why, for example, Man United have been very clear with the camp of Victor Osimhen. They are not going to pay 150 million euros, at least with this ownership. Then if it changes, it could be different. But with this ownership, they are not going to pay 150 million fee for Victor Osimhen. Harry Kane, at the moment, Man United don't have an intention to enter into a saga with Tottenham until the end of the summer, and then they don't want to sell. So it's not that easy situation, but I would keep the name of Højlund as one of the most concrete in this moment, because all the others are getting probably more complicated than expected.
Where's Muani at the moment, Fabrizio? We've not heard about him for a while. Is he still on there, or is he off somewhere else?
He is a player that they appreciate, but Bayern are leading the race for Kolo Muani. The main problem also there is the price. It's around 100 million euros. And this at the moment is considered too much for Kolo Muani. So all the clubs are probably waiting for Eintracht to change their position. But from what I'm hearing, Eintracht have no intention to change their mind. He has a long contract, same kind of situation of Højlund. But Kolo Muani will be at the Euros next summer with France, playing together with Kylian Mbappé. And so their expectation is we can keep you here for one more season and sell you in summer 24 for big money. And probably to different club. So this is why it's not always easy to go for this kind of players. But it's true that Man United appreciate Muani, but the feeling is that at the moment it's still not something that concrete.
We'll stick with transfers, but I must just ask, because people in the chat are talking about it. We had a big week last week where the share price and everything looked like Qatar were going to get hold of Manchester United. What are you hearing at the moment around the sale? Because you've been pretty good on this, Fabrizio. You said to us a couple of weeks ago you didn't think anything would happen for a couple of weeks, and it still hasn't happened. So what are you sort of hearing at the moment?
Oh, I feel really sorry about that, honestly, for Man United fans. I think it's incredible what's going on, because it's crazy to enter into this transfer window with Man United having no clarity in any direction. You can maybe mention whatever they prefer, maybe to stay the Glazers, or maybe to sell to another group, or maybe to sell to the Qatari. They can do what they want, but clarity is crucial, I think, for a top club like Manchester United and for Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag did an incredible job, so I'm really feeling their moment. It is not easy to see other clubs maybe moving on the market, and you are still there in same kind of situation as 1 year ago. So this is the biggest issue. What I'm hearing is that on the Qatari side, they are still very confident. So they remain very confident, but also very quiet in terms of public communication. They feel that last week was probably too much communication in terms of, okay, it's done, it's set to be completed, and it was not the case. They remain confident, they remain into this process, but they understand that it's crucial to calm, quiet, cautious until the end of the story. So at the moment, it's not something that we can consider done, because as of today, it's not done, and the timing, as we saw, is not that helpful for the Qatari. So let's see how it will continue, but I think we have to be careful until the end of the story.
Thank you on that, Fabrizio. Kim Min-jae, a lot has happened in the last few days with Bayern Munich sort of coming through. Two things on that. How have Man United, because we know that they wanted him, and how have Man United failed here? Is it because of the takeover? And also, did United ever bother sort of putting an offer to Kim Min-jae and his agent, or have they just backed out?
I think it's very clear that Bayern made the best offer to the player and to the agent. This is the reality. Man United have been in touch with Kim Min-jae for a long time, October, November. First, they sent their scouts to follow the player at Napoli. Then they started conversations with the player side. So they were in very advanced talks with the player. But we always said here, it's not a done deal, because to agree with the player, you have to complete the contract agreement and guarantee that you are going to pay the release clause. And Man United never guaranteed to Kim Min-jae that they were going to pay the release clause. It was like, okay, let's prepare this potential deal. Let's discuss the terms, but was never agreed with the player and never guaranteed that they were going to pay the 50 million euros release clause. So this is the reality. I think the takeover is having a big impact on this deal, honestly, and probably the same happened with Alexis McAllister, who was a player in the list at Manchester United, but they were not able to go there and, okay, let's pay the clause and let's bring the player, because Chelsea have different power in this moment in terms of future plans. But we know that probably Man United are doing way better on the pitch, so it's incredible to be in this situation, but this is the reality. I think they have to decide now. They are in a position where they have to decide what is the priority. We know that the striker is the priority. Then there is Mason Mount, because Mason Mount is a crucial deal for Man United and they want to get it done. Erik ten Hag is a big fan of the player, so I think these two positions are crucial. The centre-back is something important, yes, but probably is not the top priority. And so in this moment, to go there and offer what Bayern offered to the player, which is a really big salary with an important commission, was not probably the priority for Manchester United. This is the reality. If they want to change the situation, has to be this week. Otherwise, when we enter into next week, it will be the final stages of the deal and they will be prepared to pay the clause at the beginning of July. So the only chance for Man United or Newcastle or any other club to change the story is to match the bid this week. But again, Bayern are really close to the agreement with the player, with the agent. It's 90% done. And so I think Bayern are the big favorites now to land Kim Min-jae.
Yeah, it certainly feels like, you know, as you said with Osman, if we had a different ownership, maybe we go in. And if we had the Qatari ownership, maybe we go in for Kim Min-jae. But it's definitely a problem. Is it the same with Declan Rice? There was a story yesterday that Ten Hag's really frustrated. He feels that Declan Rice is almost the perfect type of midfielder he would like. He's playing for England tonight or is part of that squad, and then you'd expect that deal to Arsenal probably to happen. But there was talk of other bids coming in, maybe Man City. United out of that race for Rice now? Is there any possibility we could go in for that?
I think it's the same situation we mentioned for Kim and for other players. To go there and match what Arsenal are offering, you have to be strong on the financial side, but also it's about the budget you have. If you spend all that money on Rice and Mount, then you have a problem for the striker and all the other positions. We mentioned the goalkeeper. Let's see what happens with the centre-back. Let me mention again Axel Disasi from Monaco as one of the backup options they have, but also in Disasi, to give an example to people to make them understand what's going on. They spoke to the player side. They feel that the player wants to join Manchester United, but at the moment there is still no concrete negotiation with Monaco because they're waiting on other positions. So it's kind of domino at the moment for Man United, and it's not that easy because of the financial fair play and, of course, because of the takeover. So this is the reality around Declan Rice. They like the player, it's true, but at the moment to go into the race and compete with Arsenal and maybe with Man City, because Man City are informed on Declan Rice situation, but Arsenal remain the favourites, I think at this stage is complicated for United.